I'm not even sure what to say here, or how long I'll even be able to speak before this thing shuts itself off. I keep getting interrupted trying to talk about things. I'll start to get into something and look down at the phone and it's not even recording anymore. I've had a really hard time for a lot of years. These last 4 years have been the worst. It seems like it's been a lot longer than that. Last 10 years have been pretty bad. Really. Maybe a little more than that even. I was pretty miserable even years earlier, but I've been dealing with this like targeted individual kind of stuff for years, you know. And I mean, I'm just going to talk about this from like a biblical perspective now. And talk about the spiritual stuff that I dealt with and like my perspectives on that, what makes this very difficult for me. I have a hard time with in the matters of faith and in dealing with that because there's so much dark. I have my own personal experiences, but at the same time, I've had so many dark experiences and so many things that I've gone through that seems just too much. Sometimes I kind of feel like Job or something, or whatever, you know, or I mean, what must it have felt like to be Isaac? You know, one day your dad just grabs you by the hand and says, "Come with me, son. The Lord wants some. You know, the Lord needs me to sacrifice you." And he lays him out on a fucking stone. Got a dagger above him, ready to jam the dagger in his son. What must Isaac's experience have been like for the rest of his life? Yeah. People say that the things we deal with are tests from God, but why would any loving, benevolent God do that to us? Or allow that to happen to us? Knowing our suffering as he does. Why would he do that to us? I mean, literally, this... There's so much darkness, so much evil and corruption in this place. And we're expected to be perfect or something. Well, I'll use alcoholism as an example here, right? I mean, what do you think people would say about someone or someone who passes out cigarettes in the cancer ward of a hospital, or who brings a keg of beer to a AA meeting? I mean, that's like what this world is like. I mean, there's all these corrupting influences around everywhere, just surrounding us. I can't even go buy water without having to walk past tens of thousands of gallons of alcohol. It's everywhere. But that's my fault somehow. I'm to blame if I can't resist that temptation. If something takes over my fucking body and just walks me to the goddamn liquor store, and I'm trying like hell to turn around and stop. That's my fault somehow. Try to stop looking at porn or something, and then I'm just literally like, I could be trying to scroll through YouTube, trying to look at, Bible sermons or something even, and I'll just be like scrolling down, and there's like some picture of a woman in a bra and panties, their cleavage popping out or something in my face, You can't get away from the shit. Every time you turn on the fucking radio, another one song after another about alcohol. Everywhere you go, there's advertisements. You can just go into the grocery store to get food. It's everywhere. Right in my face. It's hard to deal with. Why do I talk about that? Because from a biblical perspective, people talk about having to get right and repent of sin. And there's something to that. I do notice something different somewhat when I'm able to pray and fast and get away from the darkness. I do seem to have things start to turn around for me. But when the thing is, I'm in poverty basically, and I'm in a situation now where if I go much longer without working, I'm just basically going to end up on the street or something. But it takes time. It takes time to detox and get something like alcohol, to get it out of my system to the point where I can fucking stand a better chance of being able to resist it. It takes time. I can't just quit drinking for 2 or 3 days, or white knuckle it for a week, and then go out door dashing all day delivering beer to people or something, and be perfectly fine with that. When I can get away from the weird traumatic experiences I have on a pretty much almost daily basis, and sort of like I said, pray and fast or whatever, and things do seem to get better for a while. But the darkness, it comes right back. The stalking, the gang stalking and targeting, it comes right back. When I have more time and I'm able to have, I mean, basically, what I'm saying, at least in part, is that the sin, drinking, so on. It feels like it's not even really me, you know. There are circumstances I'm dealing with in my life that it gets so crazy and so stressful, so overwhelming, and I can't get away from these weird circumstances for a length of time long enough for think. I mean, every time I start to do the right thing, start to catch a break, and things start to go turn around and go right for me, I get fucking the targeting ramps up to 1,000 basically. And pray and fast and get sober for a week or two and get out and start working and push through the crazy shit, and the crazy shit just gets worse and worse and worse to the point where I mean my finances are being attacked. My my mind is being attacked basically. Shit, this my emotions. I've been getting screwed with pretty steadily. And the thing is, I know I could do so much better, I think, with better circumstances. What I mean to say is, if things were just working, if this was like a normal world without some weird, like, I don't know, supernatural spiritual forces screwing with me or whatever, that I could be doing fine. I could, I should be able to resist buying beer as much as I would be able to resist drinking bleach or something. You know, it's just, yeah. I mean, logically, that's where I see it. Like, when I think about alcohol, to me, it makes about as much sense as drinking gasoline or drinking fucking Drano or something. It's ridiculous. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm not quite sure what to do. I feel like I need to get out of here. I don't know how much different it would be somewhere else, but I don't know. Maybe if I was enough hundreds of miles away or 1,000 miles away from here or something, maybe at least my gang stalkers would have different faces and different cars. Not the same old, you know? maybe things would be different somewhat. Maybe it would be better. Or maybe it would even be possible to run away and find somewhere where it wouldn't follow me. I just know that it's too much, man. The shit that I'm dealing with has just been too fucking much. Too much trauma and abuse, and it's like, I can't. Do I end up looking at porn and masturbating? Yeah, why? Well, in large part because I haven't had an actual, even a chance for, or had a decent relationship with a woman in over 10 years. If I went out of my way to try, I could probably get laid or something, but having an actual relationship or love in my life is something that just has seemed out of reach. And why do I drink? Because I'm tired of feeling I'm, I just want to be able to enjoy basic things that are otherwise boring. And I want to feel like a more courageous than I am. I don't know, after a while I can develop a pretty strong amount of courage. Real true courage when I'm sober for a while, but it's still even then though, I mean it gets really it just still gets I get overwhelmed. Because it's just this unrelenting, like just being stalked relentlessly, being messed with relentlessly. It gets really old. Oh, God. I don't even describe this shit. I don't know if I need to. If you know, you know. If you don't know, lucky you, I guess. All right, back to like the biblical sort of perspective of this shit, right? When I was young, my sister was into like witchcrafty stuff. Her and her friends were into like Wicca and spell casting and doing weird stuff in the house. They walk around with pentagram necklaces and things like that. She was my older sister, and so basically we had these, occult type people in the house coming over to visit, hanging out with her, and so on and so forth. And for the most part, people seemed nice and stuff. They got me to like do psychic exercises and things like that as a kid, and I developed more strong like psychic abilities and stuff. I just thought it was all cool, like X-Men or something. or a light worker or whatever, right? All that kind of shit, right? And in my teenage years, when my parents got divorced, something happened. My family was divided and broke up, and I was living with my mom because my dad was already just more abusive to me than she was with her, and it was kind of just a with her. It was mostly like dismissive or something. Like I didn't feel like I could really talk to her, bring up anything bothering me, and she just kind of like I don't know. I fell in love with this woman that was a little older than me. She was turned out to be married. She ended up leaving me, and it broke my heart. And then I started to have all these people show up in my life that I feel like, this is where like the targeted individual perp sort of stuff started happening to her. But basically, they weren't like targeting me so much at the time as trying to kind of like recruit me or drag me into darkness, wanting me to, it's like I was being groomed to be an occultist or something, basically. Groomed to groomed into darkness or some kind of thing, was what seemed like it was going on. All these corrupting influences getting me to do drugs and smoke a bunch of weed and all this other shit, right? And I was sleeping around with these witches, these chicks that were witches and stuff like that, and a lot of them were. In my early 20s, though, I had this experience, and I started having these religious experiences, kind of like I was wondering about God, like, God, if you're there, if you're real, show me. And I was really upset with what was going on in my life, what was going on in the world. And so he did. He started to show himself to me. I started to receive like messages. I tried to read the Bible. When I first tried to read the Bible, I couldn't even read it. It was just like blurry, and I couldn't even find passages. I had like legions of demons in my mind, Yeah, I'm just being honest here with from a religious perspective. That's what I dealt with at the time, in my early 20s. And God started to reveal these things to me, basically. To reveal that there was something in my mind that wasn't me. And I had this major realization. I think this is when I fully realized that there was something in me that wasn't me. That was trying to make me think or do things that were uncharacteristic of me. That this thing was getting me to pop pills and get high and all this other shit. That it was this thing, not me. That these dark thoughts that I was having weren't my thoughts, but were its thoughts. I realized that it wasn't me. And I began to cast spirits out of myself. And I began to spend more time in prayer. And to try and turn away and repent of the darkness. I threw out and burned my porno mags and my tarot cards and my runes and my amulets and all that shit. And burned them. Quit doing drugs. But the alcohol just kind of hung on. through my 20s, I dealt with a lot of stuff, a lot of weird stuff. But it felt like I was kind of in a high place in my walk with God in a sense. Certain things, there would be more and more times in my 20s where I felt God's presence truly come into my life. Just this overwhelming love that would come upon me and bring me peace. But I was still slipping up, still falling into drinking, still surrounded by the same people. And I'd been trying to get away from these people for years, these people that sort of got me involved with drugs and occult stuff and things like that. Tried to get away from them, but they would never leave. And I ended up basically, pissing them off because they keep coming up to me and wanting to trying to get me to get high with them and things like that, and trying to drag me back into my old life kind of thing more. I still drank just to cope with the stress of it all. But it's like in the past, up into it in my teens and early 20s, it was like the demonic forces and the occult or whatever felt like they had me kind of thing. Like they were gonna try and convert me and have me be one of them kind of thing. And then I realized that these forces were screwing with me and were destroying my life and corrupting me. And I've been trying to get away from the shit ever since. But the same people, the same kinds of people, still show up in my life everywhere I go. Sometimes they act like friends. Sometimes they don't, and they just stalk me and mess with me. I don't know, maybe it's because I'd seen through the veil kind of. I was at a point where I'd seen through the veil. I'd seen faces and things like that. I'd seen shapeshifters and things like that. They knew that I was trying to get out of the darkness and they don't want to let me escape. They don't want to let me out. They don't want to let me get free. They don't want to let me get into the light and out of the darkness. So the attitude of those targeting me and their approach changes based on where I'm at the time, based on how I'm feeling or how I'm trying to deal with things, what I'm thinking about. There's a lot of deception, a lot of manipulation that goes on. And honestly, my faith has kind of soured over the years and the things that I've dealt with for so long. Because I have to question why God would allow anything like this to happen to anyone, good or bad. why so many evil people are prospering and so rewarded, while people that are just trying to do right are beat to a pulp, basically. God. I feel like God has rescued me a number of times. Probably too many to count. But at the same time, I feel like there's just this tug of war between good and evil that's been going on for so long that I feel like I'm being ripped apart. I feel like I'm being torn to pieces, basically. I need to go all in one way or the other, and I don't know what to even do to go all in with God. Do I have to wander off into the freaking wilderness or something and try and live in the forest and just sit out in the woods and pray all day, 24 hours a day or something? Like, what the hell do I have to do to get out of this darkness? I have to reach a point where I can, pray ceaselessly in my sleep or something. Pray ceaselessly while I'm awake. It just seems like madness. Like, why would a just, righteous, benevolent God, for one thing, why would they want your worship and adoration to begin with? And why would they want so much evil to occur? Why would they allow so much evil to occur? Why is some kind of biblical apocalypse something that's, foretold as being a necessity or, you know? Why, if God can cast out demons, does he not cast them all out and keep them out? Why would he bring life to 8 billion people to only save 144,000? Why would he, and on and on and on, right? So many questions, so many more and more messed up things that I end up finding out in the Bible and things like that. Of course, some of this might just be like things being changed since the Mandela effect and all that. But like, there's the latest thing that I've been seeing pop up in my feed is people claiming that their Greek translation of the Bible, that there's like stories of, they're basically trying to say that Jesus was a pedophile or something that was drinking fucking boy cum or something. I don't know. Like, yeah, there are all kinds of really fucking messed up evil shit that I've been hearing lately. The level of darkness is so immense. The types of filth that I've been hearing spouted from people and what I see in public. I mean, I don't believe that crap. But I've been dealing with like being screwed with on such a major level for so many years. Things have gotten so dark, and it's just like, when, God, when are you gonna deliver me out of this darkness? When is this gonna be over? I feel like God helps, or maybe, holy angels or something are helping me sometimes. But it's like it's not enough. I don't know. You ever see the meme where there's like, what does it say? Some people just act like they're trying to help. And it's like has a picture of a guy like down in a hole, another guy up above reaching his hand down, like, oh, I just can't reach you. And he's got a ladder right next to him. You know? Some people just act like they're trying to help. I don't know. The passage that pops into my mind at the moment out of the Bible is, which of you asking God for a fish would he give a stone? If your child asked for a fish, would you give him a stone, or something like that? It's like, when it comes to God and the kind of stuff I deal with, like on some level, I feel like the darkness is so intense, and God's interaction with me nowadays is so, in some ways, kind of minimal, to a sense where it's almost like, I mean, I appreciate it, but at the same time, it's like, it's like I'm a man dying of thirst, begging for a glass of water, and he gives me a drop, and or gives me some, ice cubes to suck on or something like that. Yeah, that's how it feels, kind of. It's like things that I've seen in hospice and hospitals, where like I've had family in hospice, and they're thirsty, asking the nurse for water, and they just like give them some ice chips. Oh, you're not allowed to have water or something, right? Because they're trying to kill you. Yeah, that's what they do. But that's what it feels like, man. Like, I don't know, man. I kind of have a lot of issues with the Bible and things like some of the things that it says in there, and just with my own experiences that I've had. And I've been someone trying to search for the truth for so long. I've read all sorts of stuff. In a sense, it feels like, Don Juan and Carlos Castaneda's books explains things better than the freaking Bible does, basically. And people talking about archons and stuff like that, in a sense. I mean, there's been good and bad in my life, There's been a lot of bad. The good, sometimes almost like pills and... Well, what I mean is, I've almost come to expect bad things to happen if I have a good day. I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop, because it's just been going on like that for so long. What's been going on in my life has been, if I look at it from a biblical perspective and try to talk about it that way, it's basically I'm just gonna make shit up here because, I don't know how to say this, how to explain it more clearly or to illustrate what I mean, but it's like God gives you a puppy to make you smile, the devil comes along and takes it away or kills the puppy to make you cry, God, it's like everything good that seems to happen in my life, there's always something bad coming along to balance things out, to make things worse. It just keeps happening like that, Every time I start to try and get ahead, something bad reverses all my progress. Something comes along and just fucking wrecks me, basically. And I keep getting to places where, I'll pray and pray for a breakthrough and things start to go good for a minute, and then the targeting and the harassment gets so bad that I just flip out and I fall back into drinking or something because I don't know what to do I don't feel like I have anyone all that positive to talk to. Anybody that understands me. Well, it has my best interest at heart. It stresses me out, man. I guess I'm gonna have to pay for another month at this place because I don't have anywhere else to go. But this is a horrible place for me to be. I need to find a way out of here. Find somewhere to go. Because there's just too much darkness here. Too much corruption. Too many forces conspiring against me here, basically. And I thought about going to church, but like I don't even know where a real church even exists hardly. Like I don't even know who they are, or where they are exactly. I keep seeing signs that, the ones I look at, that they're not real, Well, for instance, when the 2020 came along, man, every single church in town fucking shut their doors. Shut them and locked them, Half the church parking lots have got, no parking signs, no overnight stay. Some of them have big, huge parking lots, and they've got, like, locking gates over the parking lot to keep homeless people from sleeping there. That doesn't seem very neighborly or godly. You know what I mean? The church down the street's got a tranny flag on the side of the church. I just... On the other hand, it's like even if I could find a good one, like it would be difficult for me to adapt to to be around people that are actually doing good in their walk with God or whatever the heck, that are actually in a better place, that actually have a better quality of life and don't have these things happening in their lives. The forces that are screwing with me, man, I mean, this is one of the reasons I isolate myself a lot of the time. I mean, there's a couple reasons. One is that it seems like there's a massive amount of people that are like in on targeting me, basically, and screwing with me, or trying to corrupt me, or whatever the hell, right? And another reason is if I run into an actual decent, regular, normal, good person or whatever, like if I got a girlfriend that was actually kind and caring and stuff like that, like there's potential that her life could be fucking ruined, but because the people and the things targeting me might start going after her, like, know, man. It's hard to get free from the darkness when you're basically, every time I go outside, I can't get away from it, you know, for the most part. I can hardly even go to some, forest park on a weekday when everybody should be working without being followed by 100 fucking cars or something and having like dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of people fucking following me around. I can't even hardly, go walk in the park, like I said, on a weekday when everyone should be working. And go find a place where I can sit peacefully alone without having somebody interrupting me. It's hard for me to be full of faith and to be so forthright in the ways of, spreading the, Christianity and stuff like that, because I've dealt with a lot of stuff. I've really been in darkness a lot, and I just want to get away from it. But I don't have some amazing... I guess I do have an amazing testimony, but it's not one of, oh, God came along and saved me, and now I'm saved, and I'm good, and my life is great, and everything. It just doesn't happen. It didn't happen, basically, For as many times as I begged and prayed, it hasn't happened. I haven't got this wonderful testimony where I can tell you that I haven't had a drink in a year or two and everything's wonderful in my life, and oh, now I have a house and a wife and I'm so happy and blah blah blah. I don't have that testimony. I have been beaten down to the ground and torn apart, basically. And I could barely summon the strength to get out of bed and face the world for another day. I think there must be something about me, as weird as it is. And in a sense, at the moment, I almost wish it wasn't so. I'm gonna say, like, there must be something pretty darn special about me or something. The level of freaking attention that I get, the level of resources that are thrown into screwing with my life and making me miserable, the level of darkness, And it was like, honestly, the more that I got into Christianity and stuff and praying and stuff, the worse it fucking got, in a lot of ways. Pray and pray and pray and pray and pray and pray and pray. And then there's some good things coming in my life, but the darkness is ramped up to ramped up to 1,000 or whatever, I've dealt with the kind of stuff like, I've seen these street preachers, some of the videos on YouTube. You want to see what it's like being a targeted individual? Go watch these street preachers. Look at all the demon-possessed people that come up to them, the kind of horrible things they say and the way they screw with them and so on and so forth, right? Now imagine that when you're not even out there Bible thumping, you're not holding a sign, you're not doing nothing, and there's just people, demons coming up to you talking shit and messing with your head and stuff. Witches and Satanists following you around everywhere, screwing with you. I've had some people tell me that this is one of the worst areas in the world. The town I'm in, the area I'm in, the state I'm in is like one of the most ruled by darkness anywhere in the world or something. And I mean, one of the guys that told me this stuff, he sounded like a lot of the stuff he said makes him sound kind of like like an antichrist or something figure. But he certainly seems to know what's going on, and I think he's right about a lot of the stuff he said, though. He said that there's Satanists everywhere, that they run everything. They run the churches, they run the government, they're everywhere. They're friends and family and everybody around, and and I've experienced things in my own life that make me think, holy shit. Like one of my second cousins used to live in this building, and I talk to them sometimes. And her husband, they both seem like nice people. He seemed like a nice guy. But the point I was getting at is even like as they were leaving, they moved out to some other place, and I saw him with a backpack with a Baphomet on it. I was like, oh shit, him too? It's like everywhere. I don't know, man. I'm not sure what to do. I feel like I've got to get out of here. I've got to try. Like, even if, I don't know, I've got to do something major. And I don't, I hope I don't make the wrong move or something, but I mean, I don't know. I've thought all kinds of different things to try. I thought about, sometimes I even think about just loading, if I get my stuff out of here, just load everything into the car and just take off and go I don't even know where, just to get out of here. I don't know where I would sleep. But my life would just continue to get worse and worse. But the way I'm living now, the place I'm living at, I feel like I'm just being murdered in slow motion. Just like slowly tortured to death. It's like being strapped to a chair and somebody comes along and rips one of your toenails out with a pair of pliers, and then walks away for 5 or 10 minutes, then comes back and does it again, and then just one thing after another. Then your fingernails, one after another. Then he takes a torch to your feet, walks out of the room, comes back 20 minutes later and pours a laxative down your throat so you're shitting your pants, sitting in your own fucking shit, vomiting all over the place. Then when you're exhausted and can't hardly take anymore, they come back and do some other torture, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. That's kind of what I felt like, like I'm just being like tortured to death, basically. Just psychologically, emotionally tormented. To the point where I get to where I feel like I'm losing my mind. And I get feeling just so exhausted from it all that I feel like I can't take anymore. I feel like I can't take another step. The fuck? Stop.